Hi, everyone. I am Tara, aka Spirit Mother, and I'd like to welcome you all back to my channel on YouTube, Spirit Teachings of Going Within Self, on TikTok, 49 Soul, and I'm also live on my Facebook. If you're new to my channel, I always suggest, and I really encourage you to read the description on my YouTube channel, Spirit Teachings of Going Within Self, so you can get a better understanding of what it is that I bring forward on my channel. My channel goes here, there, and everywhere, and it's never normal. And it's extremely intense. Okay, you'll like me, hate me, love me, loathe me. I'll make you laugh. I'll make you cry. I'll push you off. You'll want to punch me upside my head, what have you. I'm not here to debate. I'm here to just bring things forward and question the system. Okay, we just got through Steve 2025, so it's kind of the 2025 rabbit hole. Okay. And not only within the system itself, but things that I've learned. Okay. I question the government system because I say, as the people, you give too much power to the system. And then you wonder why it's so fucked up. Okay. Now, I received a call today. This is what's kind of sparked it today. I received a call from MSI, like the MSI Health Care. And I was questioning it because we used to be able to go into the office. And they said that the office got shut down during COVID. It was supposed to be temporary. Here we are 6 years later, and it's still not open. And I looked into to find out, okay, who is in charge of dispersing the money. Dispersing the money. Seriously, you're going to fuck with me already? Who it is that disperse money? Well, strangely, I found Bernard Lord. Okay. And he's connected with a lot of governmental things, which is, really fucked up, if you ask me. And each province is given money, and then the province is the one who says where the money goes to, which, they don't even have a fucking clue where they should be putting the money, because if they did, then the money would be going into the people. Okay? Your medical system. They say your health care is free, but none of your medications are covered. Your dental is not covered unless you're like under 12 years of age, or you're a senior, and then it's still not properly covered. And they tell you, oh, go get insurance. Well, they're connected with the healthcare insurance companies. Have you ever had a gander into it? So it's the monopoly. But a lot of you already know that. So my question is, if a lot of you know that, you'll say, oh, well, people aren't listening anymore. Well, I guess you're not like going up against the right people, because I was looking in the Constitution, and I was looking in with regards to them passing bills. And I was asking, like, if your government passes a bill, which they usually do it in the middle of the night, which is pretty fucked up if you ask me, because isn't that when shady deals take place? Seriously, that's when shady deals take place, is in the night. So that's a bunch of fucking criminals. But you already know that, right? So I looked into it to find out about it. About the people appealing. Because, you're not given a chance to do anything. Just one sec, sorry. But I am going to say it. Anybody that wants to tell me that because I don't vote, I have no say as to what takes place, I will tell you literally go fuck yourself, because I have say. Because I wasn't the one that gave my say up, thinking that these fucking rich oligarchies were going to make the right decisions and put the money where it needed to go. The only place they put the money where it needed, well, it didn't need to go there, but they stole your money. And then they say, like, oh, well, you know, people like myself on assistance or a disability or anything like that, you know, you people will fucking be ignorant to us. And you'll say that we are the bane, we are the bane on the system. No, we're not. The bane on the system is the one that you give your fucking power away to and expect them to make the right decisions, which, you know, we're all still waiting for the right decisions to be made. But oh, right, you have to be all intelligent and all political and think, oh, I know what's going on. Do you? Then if you fucking knew what was going on, my question to you is, why are you still fucking voting? Why are you giving your say up to people who make shady deals in the middle of the fucking night and go to summits and have big gallant parties? Meanwhile, you're on the streets fucking starving, or you're at home crying and you're crying and your kids screaming and crying because they got no food or no formula. But oh, right. You're the type of people that you just don't give a shit as long as you got what you need. Everybody else is the fucking problem, but you don't see the real problem. You just say that people on the streets, no, they want you to believe that the problem are the people who are on disability or on pensions or living on the streets are the problem that's asking you for money. No, they're not the problem. Your ignorance is the fucking problem. I've given my last $5 to a homeless person. Thank you very much. And I didn't look for gratitude for it either. I ate out of a garbage can before myself because I had to make sure my own kid had food. See, I was looking at it like all these scripts that they take and all these summits and everywhere they go, they say, but you know, they send them in resorts and you're paying for their food. Meanwhile, they got fucking millions and millions of dollars themselves. Why aren't they paying for their own food? Your job doesn't pay you for your food or pay for your food. So why do we have to pay for a place, a house for them? Why do we have to pay for their traveling expenses and food? Yours isn't covered. It's part of their job. But you'll say, oh well, you know, they're taking care of our country. Oh, they're doing a great job of it, aren't they? See, when people tell me that I have no say because I don't vote, like I said, I'll tell you, go fuck yourself. I speak for myself. You don't speak for me. They have these rich people that you put, they have not a fucking clue what the people need. And they don't listen to your needs either. Because if they did, well, your hospitals wouldn't be fucking overrun because you wouldn't have to be running to emergency because you couldn't get a family doctor. You know, I'll tell you right now, they tell you in order to see a therapist, if it's not through the hospital, you have to pay. No, that should actually be covered because that's part of your health. That's your mental health. You know, from province to province, if I can find that now, from province to province, a lot of you know that, the money is dispersed differently. And my question, to be precise, is where is the Nova Scotia medical healthcare money actually going to? Because see, they're getting rid of, okay, I'll tell you right now, you'd have less of a load in the hospitals if they hadn't have got rid of the small hospitals, which they got rid of the small hospitals because the big hospitals are more profitable. Okay. The answer to this question, we need to dig into Canada history and travel all the way back to the creation of the Constitution Act of 1867. We're talking the very DNA of Canada democracy and the moment when the Act unit 3 of 5 British North American colonies into a federal state and outlined the dispersion of powers between the central parliament and a provincial parliament. Didn't Mark Carney say that he was going to get rid of these borders in Canada, each province to province, get rid of the borders? Because who is it that says of who needs more money? Because they give less money to the maritime provinces, and the maritime provinces actually have the oldest generations. And why do they have the oldest generations? Probably because when your ancestors, your European settlers, your loyalists, and your British settlers, it came when Edward Cornwallis came. They landed in Nova Scotia. But see, the thing is, at the pier in Nova Scotia, they don't have the records because they never started doing records. I believe it was like 1865 or thereabouts that they started keeping immigration records. But I actually have the settlers who accompanied Cornwallis in 1749, which I could, like, what I found out, because people say, oh, Canada was founded in 1867. Well, strangely, that was the same year that my second or third great granddaddy donated property to the church. But see, the thing is, when the settlers come over, they actually come over to Nova Scotia. And then they dispersed from there. Because Canada and the United States and Quebec and all that, it was all one. Okay. And then the Queen, is it the Queen? Pure Victoria, but it was before, I believe it was. Yeah, because it wasn't until the 1800s when they started separating Canada and the provinces and all that. And someone's really trying to shut me down and shut me up, which you can go fucking pound sand. Seriously. I was watching stuff and I'm really like, I am so fucking baffled that people are fighting over who's got the better fucking military, who won the most fucking wars. Get your peckers up, get your peckers out, your tits up, and say, hey, oh, we're bigger than you. No, you're actually not. Because if you think it makes you big because people went and fucking murdered other people, then you're a fucking pissant. You're not big. People who think that you glorify fucking war. Because you think it makes you superior. That's ego. And I don't care what country it is. Anybody who is fighting over who's got the better fucking military or who won the most fucking wars, you're fucking pathetic. And I say it that way because that's pretty fucking sad if you think it's okay to fucking kill people just because you think you've got the better war or got the better military. It was about China saying that they were going to send because the states were threatening China and China was going to, if the states did that, China was going to send in a hydrogen bomb and it could blow up like all corners of the world. No clue. See, the thing is, the reason why they're saying all this stuff is because it's another fear tactic. Because they can't detonate them. They can threaten to. Because it's all about this. It's all about obedience. Because what do you think they're talking about when they go into these summits and all this shit and it's behind closed doors? It should never be allowed behind closed doors. They work for you, don't they? Seriously. They get paid by you, right? No matter how you look at it. If it weren't for what they class to be the pissant peasants and say, you work for us, no. You gave them the power. And now you're screaming about it. I don't get that. And we're still going into a new year. And if any of you are familiar with numerology, which, some will say, oh, well, that's demonic, that's witchcraft, that's this, that's that. Go fuck yourself. Because it ain't no more than what your churches are using. But you know what? Your true matrix, it works. It works. And number manipulation. Why do you think they put lawyers and doctors and business people in? You say because they know how to run it, they know how to run the company, they know how to run it. Do they really? What they know how to do is they know how to rob you blind. See, they use the fear tactics. They use the threats and everything like that and say, oh, well, we're going to blow up your country. Meanwhile, they're all sitting there eating their escargot, smoking their fucking cigars and wanking on each other and everything like that. And did I say wanking on each other? Yeah, because that's how they boost each other's ego. Going in numerology, okay, you take January 1st. Okay, January 1st, that's 1-1, right? And then you take 2026 and you add the numbers together and you have what? 10, right? Well, you cancel it to 0 because you add the 1 and 0, which gives you 1. So you have 1, 1, 1. Or if you look at it and you count the 10, which cancels out, you get the 1. You have the 4 ones. You say you're in 2026? Are you in 2026 or are you in 1111? Or are you in 1 because you all say about resetting, right? Many people said it didn't feel like New Year's. Now, let's see how. Okay, this is going to fucking. Nessuno come era sito durese la catata e sulla crea no corresi che te por gai. Io tale no regame. Ela puto que corresi. Si eu tô torreke. E cota cree non ta se tutto crea da non tai. Su sicuramente. Mm-hmm. See her every day. That's fudged. Nice. Right in my okay. Hurt. È sicuro molto carriai. Chissà ta. È sicuro perché mostrano. They even have the criminal code here with me. Okay. Oh, shit us. Okay. Should I put it up? Yeah. 1 sec, please. Oh my goodness. Now, like I said, if you're new to my channel, my body is going to do some reacting. Okay? It's like they energetically want to try to kick the shit out of me, but it's like, my question was, can people appeal bills passed? Well, people cannot directly appeal a bill in the same way a court decision is appealed. Holy shit. They can challenge a passed law act in court on constitutional grounds. The term appeal usually refers to a formal legal process to have a higher court review, okay, which, you know, you go, okay, so where does the international court come in? Where, okay, process to have a higher court review a lower court's decision of for legal errors. The legislative process where a bill is debated and voted on is a political process, not a jurisdiction. But see, the thing is, that's where I say you give them too much power. They are the ones that they can make whatever fucking law they want. And you gave them that power, and my question is why? Because there was a woman on here, and she made a valid point. Like, you know, your prime minister or your president or what have you, they have good points and they have bad points. Okay? But see, the thing is, when you give them the power to make whatever law they want, people will say, well, we want this and we want that. But then when you get it, it's not what you thought it was because they lied by omission. That's what it is. They lie by omission. So that's why things are so fucked up and they turn out the way they do. Because they don't tell you everything. They tell you what they figure you want to hear because you don't want to hear the rest. Here is how citizens can effectively challenge law after it has been passed. Okay, because you know you have this thing with your internet and everything like that. Do I believe that there should be a limitation with regards to social media platforms of age limitations? In a big way, yes, I do, because there are so many children that are abused through social media. Not just by other kids, but also by adults going in and pretending. Because I've seen people, okay, each to their own, you do what you will. But there are people that they have 1,000 friends. And they probably don't even know 3/4 of it, maybe not even a quarter of them. Yeah, I do have some people on my friends list. on Facebook or something like that because, well, for one, I don't even really use it hardly. I just go live on my Facebook and once in a while I'll throw up a picture or something. And I only am on TikTok. I'm only following 27 people or thereabouts because I am of the point of view that if their content is meant to come across my page, then Spirit will God bring it to me. The primary way of citizens or groups can challenge the validity of a past bill known as an act is by initiating a lawsuit in court, typically the federal court or a provincial superior court. Okay. So I'm going to say it. A lot of people are screaming about with regards to young children and the parents being forced and coerced and intimidated into having gender affirmation, or however you pronounce that word, affirmation, you know what I'm talking about, to have their child's sex changed. I will agree with Donald Trump on that. And I know our prime minister has a transgender child. But you're mutilating a child out of fear, out of profitable measures. There was a transgender guy that I watched on TikTok, and even he made sense. He was transgender, and he said, you're involving young children in something that is adults. The children are not able to grow mentally, physically, emotionally, or spiritually appropriately because you put it all in your government's hands. I'll probably lose, people because of this. I don't care. I don't think that people should be mutilating their body. Don't you think they're doing that enough in the fucking wars? See, I know where a lot of it is coming from, because a lot of it comes from feeling like you're a stranger in your own body. Believe me, I know. Because every day I go through that where I feel like I'm a stranger in my own body. Not because I want to get a sex change, but because it's like, through life trying to figure out who we are, where we're meant to be, what we're meant to be doing. We're not comfortable in our own skin because of what others perceive. And sometimes it's because you want to run away from yourself. You don't want to be that person no more. Believe me, I know. Because there was a few times I literally chopped my hair off, or I just went and dyed my hair because I hated who I was at that time. It's like imposter syndrome. Thank you. I heard somebody say imposter syndrome. Anybody who pressures a child or a parent into getting gender affirming surgery, you should be questioning them. There are many bills that should be contested, but nobody wants to do it. We holler about it, but we don't do it. We don't know how to do it because of this fucking bullshit right here. And I say bullshit. I really call it fucking bullshit. Because, like farting. They'd say, oh, well, that's administering an obnoxious substance because it stinks. Well, so's your fucking breath. But you breathe on people. Shit. Literally, let's say, from what I understand, all the times that Donald Trump shit himself, well, shit, he should be poor by now. All the obnoxious substance he's been spitting out. I'm using that as an example as to how far you have allowed the system to go. And now you're wanting to kill one another because, oh, well, now it's this way, it's that way, it's this way, it's that way. Oh, well, our country has the bigger, better military. We won the most wars. We did this, we did that. No, actually, you didn't. Your ancestors did. And when are you going to realize that your fucking ancestors are tired and they're fed up with the bullshit? And that's why they're speaking up through you and other individuals. Everybody's talking about sending these people back to their country and this and that. Well, I guess we all better hop on the same fucking boat because our ancestors came over the same way. But see, that's the thing. People won't look at it that way. Everybody, how can you don't own, nobody owns the fucking land. Not even your government, not even your queen. It wasn't given to anybody. You just figured by setting your fucking flag there. It's like a bunch of adolescent children on a fucking playground fighting over who's going to stand where instead of fucking sharing the space. This is what 2025 was about, was unveiling what is really fucking going on, but people are still fighting over, oh, well, our country's won the most wars. Go fuck yourself, man. Does your ego have to be that fucking big to make you feel like a man or a woman? The woman that her husband was said to have been assassinated. She's out like she's on the fucking stage for WWE. Time to let's get ready to fucking rumble. time. You know, ego is always trying to compensate for something. Seriously. It's people, it's trying to compensate for something. Because you in one place your ego is not up high, so you need the pumping of the ego. That's why they get up there, and it's like they got to be glorified. That's how they pump their ego. I'm coming out on the stage and the fireworks are coming up, and it's like, fucking, you say you're for the poor people. You say you say that you're a fucking church person, that you're doing God's work. No, you're not doing God's work. Because God's work is not spending millions of dollars on a fucking showboat just so you could go get your tutus on. Do you know, you have these people sitting in power. They're sitting in their suits. And my question is, how many of them actually seen a war? Because people say, oh, well, Donald wars and stuff. No, Donald wasn't. Donald hobbled himself, so he didn't have to go to war. Now, yesterday I went somewhere, and on the way home, I even started crying. Because I started having a feeling in my private areas like someone was putting in a catheter. How many of you have seen the Epstein, some of the Epstein files that have come out? You know, the ones where they had the pictures and that room where they had what looked like a dentist chair with a bunch of fucking faces on the wall. Do you know what that was? Do you know what that was showing? I'm almost certain that what I was channeling and what I was experiencing was that what they do for their victims. Okay, you can you roofie them. Okay, but what they were doing to keep them sedated was they were inserting catheters in these people through the urinary tract because it was the quickest way to continuously keep drugs going. You won't believe me, right? Would the victims remember? Who knows? I don't know if the victims would remember it. But that's what Spirit was bringing forward to me. It's through catheters. Why do you like you think of it this way, okay? A child who gets sexually molested, what happens to them? They get infections, right? What happens if you have a catheter in there? Especially if the catheter is not clean, because you know they weren't cleaning the catheters; they were likely taking it out of one person and putting in the next. These are the type of power. And you glorify them what? Because they got money? You know, I went through something this Christmas, okay? Because this year has been hell. Well, 2025 had been hell. And I delivered the Christmas, I delivered Christmas morning. It was like I said, I just didn't feel like Christmas. And I got one of my presents. And I could swear that this person didn't have anything for me for Christmas. They just took something that they had in their house and threw it in a box and wrapped it up. See, the thing is, I've given people, like my kids, when they were little, like game machines or something like that. And here, a couple of years ago or something, I gave my oldest uh, air compressor that was secondhand. It had only been used once. I don't know if he ever used it. But that wasn't because I didn't have a gift for him. Because what I got, it's not something that would be sold in the wintertime. Because it gets removed from the shelves. So yeah, I was quite irritated because I would rather somebody be honest that, hey, I don't have a gift because there's an indifference between me and this person because I said something. But I'm going to take it and I'm going to put it on my mother's grave. So with something like that, it's that part of, instead of trying to deceive someone, because the person said that they lie, they like lying and they're good at it. Instead of trying to deceive someone, why not just be honest for once? Just be honest with people instead of saying that, oh, well, like, whatever, and then disputing it till you're blue in the face. Because, when I said something about it, people ganged up on me, even the person who was here and even had already said that that's exactly what it appeared. But then when it was said to other people, they switched sides, which makes you, I will say, an actual asshole. And people like that, they lose my respect. Some people don't care because they don't respect other people anyways. And that's what you have in your systems too. You put these people in a position that are already millionaires. Like, okay, you have the premier in Nova Scotia. He's worth what, 24 million or more, and you're paying like seriously. You had Justin Trudeau, who was a net worth of 97 million, and I believe that was US dollars. But you were paying for his house and everything for him to live. Meanwhile, you can't even pay your fucking electric bill. So court or provincial superior court. That's the first part of it. So the primary is citizens or groups can challenge the validity of the passed bill, known as an act, is by initiating a lawsuit in court. You know, Bernard Lord, where is it? Is it on what? Shut up. Oh, here we go. Let's see. Bernard Lord, he is a lawyer, businessman, and he was the premier of Nova Scotia, or of New Brunswick, 2006. Okay, the city of Moncton, Order of Moncton. Bernard Lord currently serves as president of Ontario Power Generation Board, and he's the chief executive office of Med Davy, which is the which is the Canadian Blue Cross. And what else was it? Other 30. Chair of Canadian Life and Health Insurance Association and International Federation of Health Plans. Okay. So the CEO of Med Davy Blue Cross, the Canadian provider, is Bernard Lord, who has held the position since September 2016, providing strategic leadership for the company's mission to improve Canada's well-being. He's also a former premier of Nova Scotia and leads various national health innovation. How is he in health? Please. He's a lawyer. Wouldn't you think that you'd have somebody that knew about health and what people needed and requirements? But isn't it strange that, a lawyer, okay, because I read an article back in, I think it was March of 2020. They probably tried to take it off by now. In a local newspaper, a doctor had said that the majority of the funds for healthcare that go into Nova Scotia go to pay legal fees. Go and it goes into a fund for doctors who are being sued for medical malpractice, medical negligence, what have you. I believe it was Robert Mills, something like that. And see, this is what they do with your money. People say, oh, well, they put it into the equipment and everything like that. Do you know that the equipment, a lot of the equipment that they have in the hospitals is actually dinosaur equipment? You think of an MRI machine or like a CT scan, it just whoosh, 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 and the sound of it is like very anxiety ridden and deafening almost. And then you have an MRI machine, where you go into the MRI machine and they tell you about loud noises will make you go deaf, but all you hear is clang, bang, 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 clang, clang, bang, bang, clang. And they say, oh, well, that's true. Like, that helps us find it. You know, you don't have to have that because the frequency does that just well. You know, I'm just saying. Holy crap. Key details about Bernard Lord. Role: Chief Executive Officer of MedDavie, which oversees MedDavie Blue Cross. Tamir started as CEO in September 2016. Previous experience: served 8 years on MedDavie's board and was Premier of New Brunswick. You know, with all this stuff he's doing, how did he have time to be a lawyer? Oh, right. He knew how to manipulate the system because, no offense to lawyers, but most lawyers do because they know the loopholes. That's why they put them in the system. You look at all the ones that are in your leading your government. He's the chair of the Canadian Life and Health Insurance Association and International Federation of Health Plans. Chair of Canadian Life Insurance, okay, and health plans. How it's structured: operates under the strategic leadership of Bernard Lord at MedDavie. Eric Lewis serves as president. Okay, we're looking at this. So when I asked, I was inquiring about the health card, okay, because each province is different, and each province gets a certain amount of money, and then the province disperses it. I asked, who is the Minister of Health? The Minister of Health and Wellness in Nova Scotia is Michelle Thompson, who also serves as the minister responsible for healthcare redevelopment and Office of Healthcare provincial recruitment, a role she has led since being sworn in August 31st, 2021, riding of Antigonish as Progressive Conservative. Current Minister, Michelle. Okay, so is it Michelle Thompson who disperses the money? And prior experience, a registered nurse. Okay, so let's see. Let's see. Hold on. Yeah. Okay, let's try this. Nova Scotia Health Department, Nova Scotia Department of Health and Women's Health is the government body primarily responsible for dispersing healthcare funds throughout the province. The DHW sets strategy, policy, and direction for the healthcare system and continues accountability for the funds advocated. The funds are then dispersed to key partners that manage and deliver health services. So it goes right back into, it doesn't go into the people. It goes back into the hands of the wealthy and rich. And you're told you're getting health care. So Nova Scotia Health, the authority governs and manages the majority of health services across the province, receiving a significant portion of the provincial health budget. Really? It is responsible for advocating funds to various hospitals, health centers, and community programs within its jurisdiction. And that's why so many people are without a doctor. And that's why, like, your hospitals are saying, "Oh, give us, like, we're going to sell raffle tickets." And donate the money. Do you know the biggest majority of people that donate to hospitals are the ones with virtually no money? And then the ones that have the money because they want to be seen and recognized as being gracious and kind. They donate money. They have this big gala and everything like that. Oh, we're donating, but yet, if you looked, you find out they claimed it on their income tax. So they didn't give anything to anyone. And I say, you give the power to these people, and then, you tell people like myself to shut up, or, all you do is complain. With all due respect, I'm not complaining. I'm actually laughing at people right now. Not because of their ill, but because you keep saying the same thing over and over again, but do fuck all about it. You just tell people like myself, "Oh, well, you got no say because you don't vote." I don't vote because I don't give up my say to somebody who doesn't have my best interests at heart or my family's. IWK help my back years ago. Do you know they used to bribe people with alcohol or things like that in order to get them to go vote? That was much like when you had COVID and they wanted to give the vaccines. In some places, they were telling you, "Oh, well, we'll give you we'll give you food vouchers for like McDonald's or Wendy's or something like that." Fucking the shit that's making you sick. People are supposed to. It's not about going against one another. It's about going up against the systems that keep you in pain and suffering, and says that, "Oh, well, this is what we have to do." I know there's people out there that want what's best for the people, but they're the ones that can't get anywhere. If you're not one of these ones that are easily bribed and manipulated, that, oh, everything's about money or blackmail, then you can't even get in. I knew a guy from a home. He's a truck driver. He got in. But I don't know how many times he got kicked out because he challenged the system. And to the people, the ones that challenge the system are the ones that you should be voting in, not the ones that give you lip service. Like I said, in 2020, I went around with one of the ones going for, I believe it was MLA or something like that. They wanted to get a seat in government. And I went around my neighborhood with them. It was a poor neighborhood. People would call it almost like a ghetto. You know, low income and people with lots of mental health issues or physical illnesses and on disability or pensions and, you know. But she knew that I wanted to help. But see, one day she asked me if I wanted to help, and she said about like keeping the books, the money books. But see, I wouldn't be the one doing the books. It would be somebody else, her husband, doing the books, and I would just be signing for it. She worked for the PP. What's his name? People's Party? To me, that's not working for the people. If you're trying to get someone of low income that's on disability that they knew was not well, but you trust these people, how fucking daft are you? Am I insulting you? You'll take it how you will. I'm just asking the question. So my ex-husband told me, like, different things to come on here and talk about and what have you. So I just finally told him, hey, why don't you fucking speak up, man? Put a mask on. Come in, there's a lot of people putting masks on. My sister told me Christmas Day, oh, you better not go on and say the stuff that you say because, they'll come after you. Good. Because if they come after me, that just means that, you're right. And it's people like them that won't stand up and say anything, but they'll bitch about it. What? Afraid you might lose your money? I said it many times. I hope the money's worth it. Because if you would take money over life, then you're nobody else. That's why now when people say about their ills, people may say I'm cold. I'm not cold. I'm just done listening to people who want to say about their ills but not do anything about it. How did I change myself? I found God. Well, let's say God, because it was shadows. They helped me see. They helped me see my pain. They helped me see what was holding me back and what I needed to confront. Yamatakaresi totoyai, elatoporisi yomusho. You know, the money shouldn't fall. It shouldn't be sad because the money is the people's. The people know where the money needs to go, and it's sure the fuck not on the rich. You're so busy fucking fighting and sticking your dicks in the air and your egos so far up each other's fucking asses to say, oh, well, our country's got a better military and we're stronger. No, you just got bigger egos. Yeah, yes, you know, sit back and you hear stuff about the flood and everything like that. And it's like if they were anything like what the world has been like, of what we're seeing, whether it's used as propaganda or not, I cannot breathe. For the flood. Yes, I don't do it. I know where the money should go. And it would make a whole fuck of a better world too if everybody that thought me like me could see it and put it there. They're always going overseas because they have so many fucking accounts over there. People say about like the money going to Ukraine or what have you. Is it possible that they're just giving back the money that was stolen or that actually belonged to them? Because you know, Donald Trump wants Canada for a reason, and it's not because it's fucking poor. And I know people say that it's because I can feel that. You're saying it's because of the corruption. We're paying for the corruption. Some of it, yeah. I don't understand why you have to have so much different fucking currencies. Because that's an oligarchy system. And I can feel that. Pobrecita, porque hermosa. I want yesterday's Google thing. That one here. And it was like, something that was supposed to be magical was not magical at all. The lights were pretty, but it wasn't magical for the kids. But, like the true magic would have been had they had the correct music playing. I mean, you're in a place where it's Santa Land, like Santa Land. Imagination run wild for the kids and the adults and her child. In one room, it was so fucking dark, I could feel all the shadows around. Like, I could literally feel and see the shadows because nobody was fucking smiling. Kids were bouncing to have fun and stuff like that, but there wasn't no laughter. There wasn't no excitement. There wasn't no fun. And the people there that were working, and there was this one little girl, she kept walking by, and it was like she was a kid, but she, like, just the look she gave me, it's like, wow. I'll tell you right now, like, if your kid is like, if you have a child that goes to you and has the courage to say that they want to go into therapy, why fucking hesitate? The only person that would hesitate and not want to do that and start getting irritated is somebody who has something to hide themselves. And they're afraid that the child will bring it to the surface. Therapy is done all wrong. For children and adults most of the time. Because if a 2 or 3 year old is talking to what you perceive to be imaginary friend, oh well, they get psychosis. Better put them on this medication fast. It's fucking two, and the children are enlightened. They see what we don't. But the system wants you to believe that your child is sick, that your child has a disease or a disorder. It becomes a disorder because it's treated like one, but it's far from one. It's a gift that you don't understand. And it's a gift you had as a child yourself. You know, this year I found out like you have a system that tells you that it's mental health, but they thrive off of the religious system because the two work together. Then you have a religion part of it, the spiritual aspect of it that understands beyond human vision or comprehension. But mental health, we'll call it psychosis. And I watched a guy, he said, well, knowing the difference between psychosis and possession. There's a therapist said, dude, with all due respect, maybe you should actually learn the rest of it, because when it goes on not understood, that's when it manifests into a mental health issue. Because you're constantly telling the person that they're fucking crazy and you're lucky they don't blow up. It just drive you more. Because you deserve it. People say, oh, you got so much anger. No, I got frustration. My therapist said, well, like, does that make you angry? No. It makes me very irritated and frustrated. And is there a difference? Yes. Because, really, anger doesn't so much exist because it's either an irritation, a frustration, or it leads to almost like it's like a rage. You call it temper tantrum, but it's a rage of energy that all comes in and it feeds. I went through that in 99. Oh, I thought it was all fucking funny. Yeah, this is seeing my name in the clouds, and I'm seeing a figure of God in a cloud. You put God as the image of Santa Claus, and then people say Santa Claus is Satan. I told you my channel will take me where it takes me. Excuse me 1 second, I will check the volume. So someone tell me, like saying, oh, don't hurt Tara's feelings. You're not hurting my feelings. You're just fucking irritating me. Because that's the part of, you figure that if you poke and you poke and you poke, that somebody should just, give up and go fucking lay down in the corner like the dog that they try to perceive you to be. Because, I was somewhere where this person told this other person Like was telling people where they could sleep, and then told this other person, and you could sleep over there in the corner like the dog you are. I confronted them with it. Oh, I was joking. Even other people said, no, that was not a joke. That was not joking. I know what joking is. And that was not a joke. That's what alcohol does. And maybe people shouldn't drink if they can't handle it. Because if I ever find, like, if I were to ever find out what really, like, with regards to certain things of what really happened, I believe that night had told me. So this year, like, it's been a rough one, but it showed me a lot about. It showed me a lot about people, and that's what Spirit's trying to show us every day. Because it's being that mirror into that person, but they get their nose at a joint when they see themselves in the mirror. Because when we have to look in the mirror, we have to see our own truths, and when we see our own truths, we want to deny them. So I had a lot of people really fucking irritated with me. And a lot of them probably still are irritated with me, but hey, I guess you didn't get the point, did you? Wasn't just about my life of what I went through, because it was everybody else who went through life the same time around me. I've come to realize that I'm not here to just help people one on one, because you just don't get it. It's one on one. It's like seeing something. People say seeing is believing. Well, even if even I've I've like experienced things where even when the people seen it for themselves, experienced it for themselves, they still denied it. And my question is, why? Is it because the system that you look up to, the system that you vote in, tells you that, oh, don't you dare stand up to us, don't you dare speak about us. I still don't understand why people are screaming about being censored and then just censoring themselves because you're so fucking afraid you're going to lose your platform. I'm in Canada, so I don't give a fuck. I don't get paid. I already had one of my TikTok accounts at the band because I put up a government website and said about Weather Modification Information Act. And my account got taken down. It got banned. So it was like, say what? But it didn't stop me from going in and starting all over again. I think I had about 5,000 followers, and now I'm up to 1,500. because I had to start a new. But that's fine because I didn't come with followers. I come to teach you how to read yourself and how to see yourself, the good, the bad, and the ugly parts of us, our shadows. The way to moving forward is facing those shadows, those things that you don't want to face, that you want to keep pushing down and lying about, because it becomes much easier to lie than it does to fucking be honest, not just with other people, but because, if you're not honest with yourself, you're sort of fucking not going to be honest with other people, because you got to keep telling the same lies over and over again so you can fucking believe them. And that's what your people in power do. They keep telling you over and over things. Well, we didn't say that, because a lot of them have gotten caught in that. But see, they read off a script. Probably not much that they remember. I command question with regards to the biblical story of Jesus and how people say it's Jesus or it's Yeshua, Mary Magdalene, and all that. I mean, that's not their real names; those are just characters. Geez, didn't they say that Peter's name was Simon, but Jesus said, "Well, I'm going to call you Peter." Did you ever hear Simon says, "Jump up and down." Simon says, "Move like a puppet." But he changes it to Peter. So, people say about seeing people's doppelgangers, or they look identical and it's like they haven't aged. Believe me, I understand about that. I still don't know how I'm alive today. People are saying about, like, the government passing this thing with regard to me. Why don't you fucking fight it? I told you. Was it said class action lawsuit? Because, it's hurting you, it's hurting your family. And how many knew that, like, when people get euthanasia, they paralyze you and then the person drowns to death. And sometimes it depends how long it takes. Sometimes it takes up to 24 hours for it to finish. How many times have they buried people alive and just didn't make it known to the public? Oh, shit. Okay, constitutional challenges. Okay, I read that part. Grounds for challenge. The challenge must argue that the law or parts of the law violate the Constitution of Canada or the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, which all the bills that they have been passing have been against the Constitution. I have it right here. It goes against your freedom of conscience and religion. Okay, it's against that. It's against freedom of thought, belief, opinion, and expression, including freedom of the press and other media or communications. It's doing that because it's bringing bills in to censor things. There's got to be like more features that keeps kids out of adult conversations, and if you are incapable of being part of an adult conversation, that there's going to be some controversy, there's going to be some of this, but it's a matter of not just putting it out there but actually seeing what each other's putting out there to understand the bigger picture. That's what it was supposed. That's what it's meant for. It's meant to help society evolve by seeing from a different perspective with each other's what have you. But people don't see it that way because we want to make money, because you live in a system that says you have to have money. There are more and more people coming on and saying, we shouldn't be paying for basic needs. You shouldn't have to pay to live on a land that nobody technically owns. Because it's like, you say the earth is 4 billion years old and you're arguing over who was here first. And you say you're mature adults. Freedom of peaceful assembly and freedom of association. I don't care, like, security of person. Everyone has the right to life, liberty, and security of the person, and the right not to be deprived. Therefore, expect in accordance with the principles of fundamental justice. Do you know how, like, people know how many laws that your government has violated, given that they are the ones that fucking wrote it up with a bunch of doctors and lawyers and farmers and, all of these people who are in higher perceived realms of existence? Those are the same people that put the bill out for the Sexual Sterilization Act in 1928, I believe it was. right in the middle of World War I and World War II, but it had been going on prior to that because they were just feeling it out. And they're doing the exact same thing right now. What do you think MAID is? It's to make people feel like they're fucking less than what they are. Because it's not society that's a dying system. It's your government that is a system that never should have existed in the hands of the wealthy. Treatment or punishment. Everyone has the right not to be subjected to any cruel or unusual treatment or punishment. What happened in COVID-19? That was unlawful treatment, cruel and unlawful. So your employers, if they were doing the same thing and threatening what have you, then that's grounds for a class action lawsuit. Hey, everybody else may as well be litigious. You know, the one who you say is the ruler of the world right now is pretty fucking litigious. But oh, right, the leaders of your perceived world now is do as I say, not as I do. It's like, how about we strip you of all your fucking titles and put people in there who's actually going to work for the people and can't be bribed or blackmailed or bought. It's like, yeah, I heard small business owner. Before you, like, it's like, you know, criminals should not be convicted felons and stuff like that, especially when there's money laundering and other nasty things taking place. You never put them in a place of power. But you see, oh, well, you know, I had one person say, oh, well, you know, he's a good businessman. That's why he was bankrupt 6 times. I was watching the series Turned yesterday, and they were figuring out about where the house was because it was on a nexus. And it was the way that where their place was positioned, it was a battleground for good and evil because it was in the center, it was placed in the center of the pentagon. Has anyone ever checked to see if the White House was on one of those? Some of you don't believe in that, but you know, hey, Donald Trump keeps rambling his mouth and saying about being on a witch hunt. Well, fuck, you got two sitting in office and another one showboating on the stage. say, people will say, oh, our country's the best. Well, a lot of lies are on your country. It's not just, it's North America itself. There's two separate leaders. I'm sitting here and I'm wondering if some of the money was sent to different places to pay for certain things for just this time. See, it says about like money being like in bucks. If you look at your like the text, okay, that you say, okay, you cannot worship two gods. But why? My question is, why are you worshiping anybody? Okay, or anything? It's we're like the elements. So how do I put this? It said you can't worship money and worship God at the same time. No, but you shouldn't really worship either because there should be a balance there. Not worshiping either one. How do I explain it? I'm still trying to figure out how to explain it because I can feel that people are, it's like an irritation because it's all about money and worshiping the Bible or anything like that. I'm using it as an example. If you get offended by that, well, then I guess you shouldn't be in my room because you're going to get really fucking offended by a lot of things I say. See, it's not that the money is evil. It's where it's put and who handles it, how it's handled. People will, okay, your energy is your money. Okay. As people steal your energy, they're stealing that essence from you. So they're stealing your wealth, your abundance, okay? Your gifts, your ability to thrive in life. Because the way they do it is they do it through word manipulation, through visual manipulation, through insults and throwing insults, but saying, oh, I'm just giving you constructive criticism. Constructive criticism does not come with a compliment and they pull it back by being constructively criticizing. Because if they're like constructive criticism It's criticism that they want to make, but they try to sugarcoat it because then it allows them to get off with, maybe being a little manipulative. Because that's what a narcissist would do. I'd like you hear me saying profanity, and I've said it before. I know when I'm channeling certain individuals because it just sounds exactly the way they talk and how they talk to people. But there's also that, in here, Mary's message to the world, and there it says, like, some don't believe in Jesus, that's fine, but to the ones that do, Jesus wasn't all that polite himself when he got angry. Donald Trump calls women pigs. With all due respect, man, you're the one shitting yourself. Yeah, right now it's those two. It's those two spirits, and they have a beef, and it's a masculine and a feminine. You could see it as the father and daughter, the brother and sister, the husband and wife. Yeah, it could be like the aunt or the uncle and niece. Because, what do you see going on in the White House? Going to all this stretch feels good. Risi, mutakare. Oh shit. Parece muito brasileiro. Que mucho. E assim que muito foi. Ela aparece tudo. Feito tudo chorando, por esse amado, aí, como yes. É super bem. Ela vai chorando. Now, I'll show you this. I don't know if you can see it. Okay, so that's Donald Trump's wife, Donald Trump's said daughter, and Pam Bondi. I have Ivana as being the mother, Pam Bondi being the daughter, and Ivanka, the granddaughter. Because if you look at them all, they all look alike. And I was looking at that because where I just got done saying, okay, because, how do I explain that? It's like I'm experiencing a family. It's like the private investigator trying to sort through the shit. Okay, so and then I have another thing here, okay, because everyone knows Fox News, okay, so you have Fox News and then that woman from MSI or something like that, Man and the Woman. I will say they too look an awful lot alike. Are they brother and sister? Or are they the same person? They say you're in a show and, they're running out of characters because everyone's quitting them. So they have to recycle them. I showed you with regards to Ivanka, and Pam Bondi. Ivana would be 16 if she had Pam Bondi, and Pam Bondi would be 16 if she had Ivanka. And everyone said certain people are groomed. See, the thing is, what people don't realize is, there's the sexual grooming of what they do and the trafficking aspect of it. But there's other ways that they do grooming. You get groomed at work. You may not be aware of it. It's such training, how to see things or do things. So every time you get a new job, there's grooming involved. And it's that part, it takes away your thinking ability and your intuition, how to perceive the situation. Do you ever wonder why they go and they do these big shows when they're like on the political campaign? because they gather up the masses and they rally them up, excite them. Tell them what they want to hear because they've been doing the human experiment for quite some time now, but you just haven't clued into it yet. It's like sometimes it just feels surreal. Like I'm just mostly in my own space. And, like I'm in a space where, it's just too much or, you know, I just gotta just, just slightly. It's like moving that, not in denial of it, but putting it at a distance, seeing it, but putting it at a distance so that it doesn't have control or power over you. So I said, if you feel pressure coming in on you, hands like this. It's it's like a space, and when you do that, and you just push from your shoulders and push the energy out, whatever is on you starts lifting off of you because you give yourself space. See, what people didn't perceive during this pandemic, okay, I see reasons behind it, different reasons than what you do, because sometimes it's a part, they feel like they'll even things say that they'll say that the humans aren't ready. People aren't ready for it. And the reason that it's perceived that they're not ready for it is because you keep telling them it's fiction. I can feel that right now. It's like it's there. And when I say about like AI can be used for propaganda, but AI is used to bring forward a lot of truth. And it's the system that you are told, the system that tells you that you have to label it as AI. But if, like, a lot of people are seeing, they have to see it to believe it, like I said earlier. They say you're not ready for it. It's like that feeling of being attacked. If you feel like you're being attacked, it's because in a sense you are. It's not a delusion. They'll tell you it's a delusion. You actually are. It's happening on a spirit, on more of a spiritual plane, a plane of existence where you're kind of in the in between. Okay, and when I say in between is all of a sudden you'll hear somebody call your name or something like that, but there's nobody else there. That's what I'm talking about in between. Yeah, this just went. What you're experiencing is going to sound Lulu, but hey, oh well. You're experiencing both your physical and your spirit being when you experience that. Okay? Good thing. Thank you. Okay? So you're experiencing your physical and your spirit. Okay? So your light and your shadow. Okay? And it's ADHD people are experiencing it all the time. Put you that way. Okay? And I commented on one thing, one person saying, once you understand what ADHD is, and you realize that it's not about getting organized in your physical world, because your physical world is not going to become organized until you are organized internally. Okay? And internally is that part of, asking yourself, like in that moment, why are you like learning to sit with yourself inside? I had somebody ask me, well, like, because people will say, like, just sit with yourself, but they don't have, okay? Because, it's hard to sit with yourself if you don't know how, if you don't know what's going on, because your spirit and your physical world is trying to pull you. Because the physical wants to go this way, the spirit wants to go this way, because the spirit is already up here and the physical is. So the spirit tries to run away from the physical, tries to separate from itself. And I know this because when I was dying, my body, my spirit couldn't take it no more, and I could feel my spirit trying to get pain. It was like it was trying to run away from itself. A lot of people don't believe my story, and that's perfectly fine. I don't care. You don't need to. Do you hear your own though? Seja добре, como solita. Desierto. Yeah, do you know when people are talking about the planetary alignment? Do you know what that is? Your body is a universe, right? planetary alignment for your chakras. That's why people will see certain things and others are seeing, because it's where they're aligned within their system. Era tapolino, and if you've ever actually looked into the sun, I'm not saying do it, because they say it's bad for you. But if you ever really seen in the sun, there's actually a black hole. And if you can go past that, you see through to the other side, which the sun disappears, and you're looking at a bright blue sky. I just heard, how does she know that? Because you're the supermoon 2020. You're like the night of the supermoon, or the day, like the weekend of the supermoon, because it was 7th to 8th of April 2020. That weekend was really weird. That week. But when I was out, and it was like really windy, and then it was things were clearing up, and I looked out the window and I was just kind of watching the clouds move away from the sun, looking at the sun, and I kind of locked in on the sun. And all of a sudden, it was like the sun started swirling. And it swirled and swirled and swirled until it was like, it was blue. And then that was a Friday night. So that would have been Good Friday. And then on Easter Sunday, when I was laying on my deck, I was looking up at the sky at the sun. And as I was looking at the sun went to a slice. And then as it went to a slice, it separated and had a black slice and a light slice in the sky. And that was when I felt it was like an energy come into me, stood up, walked, and kind of looked over the back of the balcony and seen and discussed and went back over and laid me back into place and went back up through like where, and it come back together and the sun come back. That was pretty freaking weird. That's when my life got really fucking weird. See, when I hear it, it's like, you know, it's like I hear the spirits talking. Sometimes it's just like, you hear them say about setting on fire. And then I hear myself saying, here, would you like me to get the match of the lighter for you? See, I know the difference because it's like, this is what the world's like. Lleva the world. I'd rather have wisdom than because wisdom is such an over by the Oh, I just pictured me and my mom and my family all doing this. The footloose. Everybody got footloose. And boy, do our feet fucking move. And it's like, oh, better not laugh. The old man don't like it. Bueno, sí, ahora se creando, como tu culicita. Yeah, but the thing. Do I embarrass you? Well, too fucking bad for you, man. You see how stupid I am. You can get me some, oh no, I was gonna say some that waterproof makeup, but I'd rather not because I don't know what ingredient they put in it to keep it from waterproof. Eso muere, aleluya, sacan. Hostia, ¡fuera! Purísimo tata esa rato turisiki moya kuya shoko esata. It's not to you people because they know that spirit's watching. Tarisiki de gato primo solo totsukuri. Everybody cut, everybody cut. It's like breaking this fire. had somebody say to me one day what I said about that. He said, I was like, that means father. Yep, the father of the pain. It's like when you take and you make a warlock feel its own pain. Fuck. That's why they want to suppress your emotions. It's like keep your hands to yourself. And communicate, not freaking like can't tell you what to do. See, that's what I said on the other day. What if I fail and stuff like that? It's like don't go in as a New Year's resolution, right? Go into the new year knowing what it is that you want to accomplish. Don't have to set a time. Just work at it. That resolution. Well, well, let's see. That actually like it was a dream, but it was a vision, but it was like I could actually feel it. It was like I was lifting up and I was looking down. I was like, it's okay, I'm all good. And then times when I'd be like just free flying, but there was others with me. So it's like getting on a frequency. It's like, I'm light, man. My dreams, I can bring myself up and I can bring my, lower down. And I don't know that's what happens because you actually feel it within yourself. Some days you feel heavy, and other days you just feel light. And, I hope like a big. It's like a. When you look at the sun and you have the waves going through, it's like if you're like when you watch the movies, okay, and when you watch those movies and you see the way they go when they're going through like a time warp, how the different colors, well, that's much like what it is. It starts off like looking like a gobstopper with a big black hole in the middle. I don't recommend people do that. Like I couldn't do it. I just one day I just sat and all of a sudden I just looked at the sun and yeah, it's like I got weird. But I was weird before that. But it actually helped. Where's the calcification? I was watching Tarp today, or last night, or yesterday, or something, and it had Phoebe. My lips are chapped. It had Phoebe. Um, the guy that found the code to the Akashic records. His father, like some demon type, demonic warlock type thing, come in, and their fingers would go to a point, and it was like a lobotomy. Okay, but the guy found the code for the Akashic records, and they destroyed them because they said about it getting in the wrong hands because it's too much. It's too much information. But it was how to get there, and it was figuring out okay because the Akashic records, where would the Akashic records be stored? Well, the Akashic records would be stored with you because your Akashic records would be your experiences. Okay. And those of what you came in front and who you came in contact with throughout perceived time frames or periods of time or perceived time. Yeah, I said, like, we're down a rabbit hole, 2025 rabbit hole. And we've just gone deep in it. We haven't walked into any shit yet. But a whole lot of different perspectives. Kita ada bersihkan mereka sexually and say just looking out over the like downtown. Be cool if the pond was frozen and if it was frozen I had a pair of skates I could go skating and stuff with. It's weird because you know how like those the heart emojis. Like I'm seeing the heart emojis. Like what are they? The cinnamon hearts at Valentine's Day. It's like I'm seeing the red as the hearts. Yeah. Just sitting in the energy. Just sitting in the spirit. But I'm gonna leave it here. So that's how I see 2025. Rabbit holes I went down. Some experiences I had. It's not none of us a fair shade or anybody. Because if people think that it is, it's the part that will, I guess you just said, you know, but that's okay because I did. Then, with that being said, I'm sending you all much love, light, many blessings, most importantly, very good health to anyone and everyone who wants to be willing to receive and accept. I want you all to be big, bold, brave, most importantly, be yourself, be authentic self, be true and kind to yourself, be true and kind to others. And I know that not everybody can be kind at times. I'm going to send you all love. Volete volessi occupare.